Hi everyone, I am here with Cindy. I stumbled upon her walk away video. I saw it on YouTube, thought it was a wonderful video. I'm going to link in the description below. She has her own YouTube channel. It's called Cindy Politics. You guys got to check it out. I'm going to link it in the description. So she is here with me and we're going to have a discussion. She mentioned something in her walk away video that I thought was pretty interesting. She said that she was born here in America, but she spent 14 years in Ghana. So I wanted to find out a little bit more about that. So Cindy, if you can you tell us where in the U.S. were you born?
I was born in New Jersey, in Newark. Yeah, and that
Okay.
was, yeah.
And then, so what brought you to Ghana?
So my mom was an immigrant. She came probably 25 years ago, and she met my mom in New Jersey, and oh wait, she met my dad in New Jersey. So that was when they had me, and unfortunately, my dad went to Ghana and left her here. So she had nobody to take care of me, and she didn't have the daycare was very expensive for an immigrant because her payment was not sufficient enough to pay for my daycare. So that was where she decided to send me to Africa for her family members in Ghana to take care of me. And that was why I was there for 14 years.
Okay, so I guess originally you said that your parents met in New Jersey, and then your dad went back to Ghana, and your
Yeah.
mom had some issues in terms of being able to afford everything. So then you ended up moving to Ghana. Were you living with your dad in Ghana, or?
I was living with my mom's brother. So basically my uncle and his wife and children. So it made me feel a part of the family, and I made them probably my mother and my father. Yeah, automatically made them my family, basically. Yeah.
Mm, interesting. So you spent 14 years there, and at what point you had kind of touched upon a story, and you were mentioning, some of the privileges and conveniences that many people have in America. That as an outsider looking in, living in Ghana, you'd look at this, and these were things that you didn't experience at all. You were talking about how you'd have to sometimes walk or run miles just to get food or take a shower. And you told one story about how you were, running to get food. You tripped, you busted up your knee, and then you had to keep going from there. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so in Ghana, we have this, water place that we could get water from. But it gets to a point that the water does not flow. And because of that, you have to be a mile. You carry the bucket on your head, right, to
Oh,
go get
wow.
water from the well and come shower. So it's like that. Sometimes you could go trips for like maybe 5 times just to get a bucket of water for the entire family. So that was what we were going through, especially when the water was not working or the tap was not working at that time. So it was something that we used to go through. So it's not something that we actually had a problem with because we were accustomed to that kind of life.
Wow.
So yeah. And even in school, in my boarding house when I was in Ghana, we used to travel miles to get water there too. And sometimes after traveling all these miles, you'd wake up from bed and someone has stolen the water, right? So basically sometimes you had to beg people to get water to shower. That was how bad it was. That was how bad it was. So when I came here and we had I saw the water coming here freely, you could just press a button and the hot water came. Because in Africa, when I was in my 6th grade, I remember we used to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, and we had to take a shower outside. So at that time it was very cold, the water was like ice, and we, as me being a 6th grader, I had to shower with cold water, and like you were shivering and all of that. So when I came in, I saw that you could just press a button and have hot water just running through. It was a game changer for me. And even in Ghana, the food that we used to have, or the foods that we used to run for and even fight with other people just for that kind of food, right? It was crazy now that I think about it. And to us, that food was like, the best because we didn't have options. So when I came here, I came to Job Corps. Are you familiar with what Job Corps is?
Jawpor? Tell me. I don't know what Jawpor is.
Job Corps is a federal program here that people that don't have their high school or want a second chance with life, you go there and get trained for certain apprentice jobs like CNA, CMA, insurance. Yeah, that was why I came to Connecticut for. So they used to feed us for 3 times a day. And all of these foods were eggs and chicken and, all of the good stuff. But in Africa, we used to pay for the food that even had bugs in it. But we came to Job Corps and it was free of charge. And I still had people that were complaining about it, So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be in this country. Very grateful, because most of the things that we used to have, we didn't even have access to, is something that we basically get for free in America. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I can't even imagine how you described you had to go back sometimes several times with buckets of water on your head. You'd wake up in the morning. I'd imagine signs, I go to sleep. I wake up in the morning. I got some bad dry mouth. I want to reach, try to find some water. Nothing's there at all. You don't have water to shower. You're taking cold showers in cold weather as well. I mean, these are things that Americans, even people living in the worst conditions here in America, have no idea. These are things that people in America have never experienced, having to go several miles just to get clean water and taking cold showers. And like I said, I mean, even in the worst living conditions, for the most part, people have warm water. They have access to reliable utilities. So it's like, what do you think? What is it like as an outsider looking in, seeing people talk about how America is oppressive and it is just this evil, awful, disgusting country, when you're in Ghana having to go several miles just to get clean water? What is it like watching these privileged Americans talk about how awful and disgusting America is?
Sometimes I just don't understand, because if you live in a different country outside of America, so Africans are more of Christians. We're in a Christian country. And the amount of Africans that want to come here, there are times that some Africans even go to pastors to pray for them so they could come to this country in America. That is how bad people from outside America want to come here. So when I first came here 5 years ago, I didn't know anything about racism. I just came here because I just came here, trying to have these all opportunities. And I saw opportunities in everything. And when I came here, I saw white people, and I see white and black, but I never had any white person talk to me with racism. When I had a conversation with white people, it was basically us having, a dialogue between two human beings. That was what I saw it to be. I didn't really care about skin color. I didn't really care about, what he was doing or what she was doing. And most of them talked to me with respect. I have, when I was in high school, I had great teachers who were white men, right? That I when I was leaving, I even bought something for them because of how much I loved them. They were great, absolutely great teachers. I have great black teachers too. I have all the teachers that I met so far were great people, basically. So when people talk to me about racism, I really didn't see it. I really didn't see it. Especially with the police, when I came in 2015, and then during the 2016, that was when all the Black Lives Matter movement came, and people were talking about racism, and I wasn't a part of that movement. So when I saw police, killing black people and doing all of that, and on social media, I thought police officers were actually against black people. So that was when I talked about my mom, getting sick, and then I was forced to call the police, but I was scared. And then I decided to just call them and see what's going to happen. And with the respect and the way they talked to me with the respect, and they didn't even have an intention of even drawing a gun or anything. It was just them asking me questions and me giving answers, and them showing that they really cared for me was the game changer for me. And that was when I noticed that not everything that I see on social media is actually real. Most of them just have this narrative that they wanna throw to people to make them feel like there is racism. And absolutely, I would not lie, I have not been paid whatsoever, but I have not experienced racism. And even if I did, I don't care, because, people are going to be people, and I'm not going to cry over that, So
very well said. And I mean, I think that there's absolutely, there is instances of individuals being racist, but this whole claim that America is systemically racist, I just don't see how you can reconcile that with the fact that millions of immigrants are fighting to come here. It's like, if America is systemically racist, then why do we have so many people fighting to get into this country? And, why are we trying so hard to secure our borders? I mean, we wouldn't even need borders if America was as bad as these people say it is, because no one would want to come here in the first place.
No. And with all the other world problems that other people in other countries have, America is mostly the first country to show up and help. Basically, America is probably the first, or maybe, and even if they decide to help, they give a lot of money to underprivileged people, build facilities, build schools, all of these things. So it's like, to the world, even in Africa right now, they've changed, some of the states to be like, we used to call it Kumasi, but they've changed it to Kumerica. That is how bad America has an influence in these African countries. So immigrants come here and see where they left to where they are now. They only see opportunities everywhere, and they are very grateful. They are very thankful, for being a country like that and seeing that they can also, live the American dream. So when I see that people think that this country is oppressive towards Black people, I don't understand. Because when you turn left and right, there are a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of ways you could make money without having any problems whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think you said it. You said it right. I mean, it sounds like, from the outside looking in, a lot of foreigners see America as this charitable country, while natives that have lived their entire life, that have had the privileges that many people in foreign countries don't have, complain that America is oppressive, that it's systemically racist, that it holds back people, that it hates minorities, as minorities are literally doing everything in their power. There's people risking their lives. You have people in Cuba that are trying to swim across a 90-mile treacherous ocean to come here. And you just scratch your head and you think, like, how can these people take themselves seriously? How do they reconcile all of this with the fact that immigrants are literally almost dying? Some of them literally die to try to come to this country, as these people are calling it systemically racist.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. America is, if you don't know what you have, it's impossible to see, the benefits of having America in the world. Because most people have lived in this country for a long time, so they really do not know what they have in America. But if you had the chance to live in other countries and see what other people are going through just to get the little that you have here for free, there is no way you can actually undermine the privilege that you have in America. It's terrific. America, I don't know. This country is crazy. I love this country so much. Yeah.
I agree. It's like they don't have an appropriate frame of reference when the only thing you have seen is living in America, and you haven't lived overseas, and you haven't lived in countries like what you said, where you spent a significant amount of time in Ghana and you got to walk a significant distance just to get food, just to get water. You don't have that frame of reference to appreciate all the privileges that everyone, regardless of race, religion, creed, identity, has it here in America.
Yeah, I've been here for 5 years, and I'm very grateful. And I think, I thank God that I was able to, live in Africa and experience things for myself. So when I came to America, I'm able to appreciate every little thing that I have here, right? There is no way for me to complain, because I have experienced things at a young age. But for me to come to this country and see the opportunities, the willingness of Americans to help other countries and help their people, their citizens, and even if you were going through stuff, you could get support from the government, something that we Africans don't even have. Like, it's mind-boggling as to why people still complain and see why America is so oppressive. Because if America was very oppressive, people would not even try to come into this country in the first place. And I have a lot of African people from Ghana that came to this country that have made it big in this country. I have a sister, my sister and her husband, they have a big house in Delaware. They are living the American dream. When I first went to their house, it was like, I couldn't believe it. They had this big house in a nice neighborhood, and they told me that it was true hard work. Once you are able to work hard, you'll be able to live the country that you need. You'll be able to live in this country and live that American dream.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you would think like inspiring stories like this would help chip away at the false narrative that America is systemically racist. And
No.
when you have a lot of data that shows that Black people that come from overseas that are immigrants from places like Africa or Haiti, they come here and statistically they're more educated, they have higher income, they have a lower crime rate than Black Americans who were born here, who grew up here. And you would think that this would point to cultural issues that, okay, well, maybe in fact America is not systemically racist. Maybe there is possibly an inequality, and it's an inequality of effort when you have immigrants that come here that work their butt off. Like you said, you have people that you know in Delaware that were able to live in a big house. They're living the American dream, and they didn't experience this so-called oppression, and they're not crying and saying America's a disgusting, evil, racist place, and they were able to live a pretty good life here.
Yeah, so one of the things that people don't realize is Africa, because of what we went through, or because of what we go through on a daily basis in Africa, when we come here, it's all about hard work, because you don't want to live in that same place that you left, right? So that's why Africans come here. And I just got my associate's degree this May, right? I just graduated with a straight A. I never had a B, right?
Congratulations.
Straight A. Thank you. But the thing was, I worked my butt off for that. 1 a.m. I was studying for tests. I was memorizing things. I was trying to always do good in my tests, and everything. And I didn't see that oppressive white man that was stopping me from getting that. You know what I mean? So it's like when people are always trying, one thing that Africans or immigrants possibly do have is hard work. They don't make excuses for anything. They just get they just get out and do what they need to do. They don't have time to complain or to worry or whine about what the government is doing wrong or what white man is doing to oppress Black people. They just go out and do what they have to do. And that is why I believe that most of these people have been able to live their life in the American dream that they wanted to have in a long time.
I agree. I mean, I think it's the victimhood mentality, and it's poisonous and it's toxic to the brain when you think that you have all these artificial barriers to succeeding and you think other people have it way easier than you, and there's people holding you back, and no matter how hard you try, you're not going to be able to succeed. And, you could just be innocently, walking around licking a lollipop, and there's cops that are going to roll down their windows, roll up on your streets and just start spraying bullets all over the place. When you poison the minds of minorities, in particular Black people all over this country, and tell them that they're victims and they can't succeed, they start to react to that.
Even with the police, I do believe that they are bad ones, but most of them that I encounter are good ones. There are times that I'll cross the road and police will come. They will stop for me to cross the road and then they'll proceed. There are times that I'll just be walking and then they would wave at me, smile at me, do something. So would I say that they are not bad police officers? I'm not gonna say that, because there are always bad, the bad sector in any group. I'm not gonna just demonize all police officers just based on the small, group that are bad. But I have never come across bad police officers in my time in Africa here, in my time in America here. But on social media, they show that police. Yeah, other police officers that are whatever. But for me personally, I have not encountered any racist cop for my 5 years of being here. So I don't really believe that you just going and walking down the street and you get caught, you just get shot. No, I don't really believe in it. I feel like you have to be a criminal to have a problem with the police, basically. Mm-hmm. And even if you're a criminal, most of these things, you will not get shot until you do things that will cause a reaction or to trigger you to get shot, basically.
Did you see what's going on right now with the NBA, the MLB, the NHL? You got these celebrity, you got celebrity athlete activists like LeBron James saying that it's a scary, dangerous place to live in America as a Black person, and now they're protesting the death of Jacob Blake, a guy that had open arrest warrants for sexual assault, for domestic violence, shows back up at the same address, fights with cops, goes to his car, tries to grab a weapon, and then gets shot by the cops, and now everyone is rallying behind this guy who is a complete violent criminal. Like, to me, it's absolutely mind blowing. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
For me personally, if America was that racist and we're killing everybody and black people couldn't make it successfully, LeBron wouldn't be the LeBron that he is right now. You know what I mean? So it's like for him to be in that position and say that Americans or black Americans are being shot at that kind of rate is I do not believe that, basically. But with Jones Blake's, or whatever his name is, with
Blake.
Jacob Blake, yeah. Jacob Blake's situation, I feel like he has to I don't know how to put it.
Maybe some self-responsibility. It's like you have to at least show the smallest amount of effort to comply with the police. It's like, okay, well, had you not fought with police, had you not continued to as you have 3 cops drawing guns on you, you would think, okay, well, maybe now is a time to just say, okay, like, tell me what to do, handcuff me, take me to jail. You were obviously committing a crime. And then there is this whole outrage about, oh my God, the cop shot him in front of his kids. The guy shows up to commit a crime. The guy showed up to commit a crime with his kids in the car.
I don't know how hard. I don't know why some black people think that they don't have to comply to the police. And some of them act like they are above the law. No matter what you do, whether you're a criminal, there is no other chance but for you to just comply, so you get arrested and be sent to wherever you have to be sent to. I had someone, I was arguing with someone, and they were like, he was not going to get a gun, he was going to check up on his kids. And also, there's a place and a time for everything. And even if it was true that you were going to check on your kids, was that the right time for you to do that? How wrong is it? How hard is it for you to just say, for you to just comply with the police? Why does someone always have to get shot when it comes to white people, a white police officer and a black man? How hard is it for you? Is it for you to comply? And most Democrats say that, nobody is above the law. Right, and they were even trying to impeach President Trump because they thought that he was acting like he was above the law. But then they turn around and also support and justify people that act like they are above the law. Because if you are not trying to comply with authority, that basically means that you are not willing to follow what the law tells you to do, basically. And that is something that I feel like, in as much as we talk about police brutality, I feel like we also have to tell or to create the awareness that black people need to most black men or some black men need to comply with the police. If you feel like you were arrested unjustly, right, all you can do is just fight it through the court system.
Yeah, and you can win a big lawsuit. That's how you make millions of dollars.
Exactly. I don't know why you have to risk your life on the street just because you feel like, just because you feel like you were not treated the right way, or you were not you didn't deserve that kind of treatment that you were supposed to have. All of these things. And I feel like that is the reason why most black people are getting shot, just because they are not willing to comply, just because they feel like they are above the law and they don't have to comply to the police. That is a problem.
I mean, I absolutely agree. And it's like, I think Black Lives Matter, it's like their narrative gets really exposed that they pretty much, there's only 2 racial boxes that need to be checked. They don't care about any details at all. They don't care about any of the actual circumstances surrounding the shooting. It doesn't matter if the guy resisted. It doesn't matter if the guy was ignoring police commands. You had a case, I forget what state it was in, but it wasn't too long ago. There was a guy named Hakeem Littleton. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but he shot a police officer, pulls out a gun, shoots at the police officer. The officer shoots back, kills him, and shortly afterward, you have people marching, crowds of people marching down the street. Say his name, say his name. Like, what do you mean say his name? The guy shot a gun at police. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Do you think the police looked, oh God, that guy's black? Like, I don't think it mattered. Does anyone think that if a white guy shot at police that he wasn't going to be killed too? It's mind-blowing. And what it does is it emboldens and enables criminals when they see this. When they see these people that are fighting with cops. And then you have people like LeBron James. You got someone with a huge platform, 40 million Twitter followers, supporting this guy, talking about, I want to boycott the season. I don't want to show up to the NBA playoffs. Why? Because I want to defend a guy who was a rapist that fights with police. Like, is that really what they wanted to be known for? Defending people that rape women, fight with police, go back, harass the same woman that he was charged against with domestic violence against? I mean, I think it's unbelievable that we have the worst idols. We have the most toxic, poisonous messages coming out of people with the biggest platforms that are broadcasting the loudest voices, and they're poisoning the minds of Black people all over this country, and they're causing racial tensions that are completely unneeded.
The thing is, I don't actually understand why you cannot be pro-Black and support and justify people that terrorize the Black community. You know, we have criminals that are killing other Black men. We have criminals that are shooting children, that are terrorizing women. So are you trying to tell me that these people don't matter, right? And that we are now justifying these behaviors just because of his skin color? I don't care whether you're Black, white, Hispanic. If you're a criminal and you are a threat to your community, you have to be arrested. You have to, and I don't even care if you have to get shot in that process. Like, how hard is it for you to just comply even after everything that you've done to the Black community? And many people like, because he's a criminal, he doesn't deserve that. But those people that he shot, those people that he murdered deserve that kind of death, right? Right? It's like we claim that we are so pro-Black and we claim that we love and support the Black community, but yet still we justify and we support people that deem as a threat to the Black society. You know what I mean? So you cannot be pro-Black and also support criminals that serve or that kill Black people in the process. And I'm not saying that these criminals have to be shot or do whatever. What I'm saying is, even if those criminals have to, if they get arrested, they should have a form of personal accountability. You know, you don't have to act like you are above the law, and because you don't want to get arrested that day, you should not comply. No, whether you are above the law, whether you are a criminal and you don't feel like getting arrested, whether you act like you don't want to get arrested, or whether you feel like you want treated unfairly, you are not above the law. You have to comply. You have to show respect to the authority, because the police officer is also a person behind the badge. He's a person. He's someone's father. He's someone's son. He's someone's, husband. So in as much, even aside being the police officer, it just shows a form of respect. You know what I mean? It's just a form of respect, just with you complying to the authority. And if you feel like you are arrested unfairly, you could fight it through the court system. Why do we educate Black men to fight the police and not comply, but not willing to fight it through the court system? That is how we get most Black men shot. So in as much as we preach police brutality, we should teach Black men to comply. And I believe that 80% of all police brutality cases will be solved. Because looting, burning down businesses, killing other people in the process is only making the problem worse. So if it's not helping the problem, after George Floyd, they did the same thing, looted, killed, other Black people died in the process, and still Eric, whatever his name, died in the process. And now we have Jacob Blake. So that means the looting and the rioting and the protesting is not solving the problem. So then we have to create another alternative. What about we tell Black people to comply to the authorities? And let's see how that is going to change. I believe that 80% of most police brutality cases are going to be solved by that initiative.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, self-responsibility, I think, would go a long way. But, I mean, don't let facts get in the way of starting a race war. You can't bring any of these things up. You can't bring up Black-on-Black crime. You can't bring up the fact that these people had extensive criminal records previously. If you do, then you're a racist. And you can't bring up the fact that they were resisting arrest. They weren't complying with officers' orders. In some cases, they're physically fighting with officers. In the Rayshard Brooks case, the guy actually reached for the cop's taser and tried to use it against him. He punched the officer in the face. It's like, what more can you do? When it's like you would think these people are doing everything in their power to get shot at certain points.
I feel like most people, some of these things are just suicide that the police officers just help them with. Some of these people they don't care about the consequences of their actions. And sometimes when you watch these cases, you will see that the police officers really try their best. right? They are trying not to, not to use the gun, but these people give the police officers a reason why they should use the gun, basically. Like you would not expect to punch a police officer, take his taser, punch him, run away with it, and expect to turn around and use that gun, that the taser that you used, right, on the police officer and expect not to get shot, right? Police officers also have a life too. So in as much as we expect not to get shot or whatever, we have to take responsibility of our actions. But if you really do respect your life, I don't care if I get pulled over by the police. I am complying. I don't care how I feel at that time or at that moment. I am doing whatever I need to do to comply, because why? I respect my life and I take personal responsibilities for my actions. That is what needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. And I mean, I think it's crazy. The solution that the Democrats, that the media are putting a spotlight on, is you got people marching through the streets saying defund the police. They're writing this message in yellow paint all over our streets. You go to DC, right in front of the White House. I was in DC not too long ago, right in front of the White House. You got in big yellow lettering, defund the police. And I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
People forget that we Black people need our police as well, right? Because there are a lot of crimes that it's even unsafe to walk in a Black community without you getting shot by someone else or a fellow Black person. So we need our police officers. And I believe that maybe there's a problem with the police system. That's why we need a reform. How are we going to solve the police brutality case if we defund the police? It's not going to do it's going to do a lot of damage. And I believe that most states that defunded the police had a triple of the number of crimes that happened in just that week. So if we have to reform the police system, of course, and I believe President Trump also helped sign something for the reforming of the police. If we need to solve something, we need to push money into that system and engage and find different ways of how we can tackle that problem, other than you having to take all that money away and expect the police officer to change. It can't work that way. And it's funny how those people that claim, those celebrities and all these politicians that claim defund the police have a security personnel that is protecting them, right? But then for the people, they want social workers. Why don't they have social workers to protect them as well?
Yeah.
It's just this
it's
double
hypocrisy.
standard.
It's complete hypocrisy.
Complete hypocrisy. Leadership is by example. If you want them to defund the police, get rid of the security system and put in the social workers, and let's see how long you're gonna live in your house. You know what I mean? But for them, they expect that they have that security and whatever. But the people that are important, they expect us to defund the police. The people that are protecting, the police officers that are protecting Black people from these criminals, and that is a problem. That is a problem.
They're calling for more police training. We want more police training, but we want less police funding. Like, explain to me exactly how that's going to work. Because that's gonna be a tough one. And then exactly like you said, it's like you have all these mayors, you have all these politicians. I don't know if you saw what happened on Chicago. You have Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who's been extremely weak on all the protests, or not protests, but like very violent riots and looting. She's rejected several offers from Donald Trump when he says, look, I'm going to send in federal troops. I'll send in federal aid to help quell the violence. No, we don't need that here. We're fighting systemic racism. These are peaceful protesters. And then when they start marching on her own block, she barricades it off, puts cops on her block and says, we don't even allow protests of any kind. And I'm scratching my head thinking, like, why don't you allow the protests? Why are you trying to censor people's voices? And I thought these protests were mostly peaceful. So why can't they be on your block? Why can't they be outside your house? Why can't they be inside your house? They're mostly peaceful. It's okay if they destroy other people's properties, if they terrorize the lives and destroy the property of the business owners that elected you into power, but they can't stand outside your house and they can't protest out there. And like you said, they don't have social workers outside their house. They have police cars with people in uniform with guns surrounding their houses that will protect them by all means necessary.
That same thing happened to the mayor of Seattle. She called it a summer of love.
Yeah.
Until the
Mayor Jenny Durkin.
To her house. Right. Until the protesters marched to her house. That was when she called the police. So if they had not marched to her house, then it was okay for them to do whatever they wanted to. That was destroying other taxpayers' businesses, people's livelihood. They have burned everything down and claimed that they have insurance. What makes you think these people have insurance? And even if they did, what makes you think that how long is it going to take for the insurance to replace everything they lost through these riots? These people don't really, think, they let emotions get in the way, and that is the problem. We need, people that think with their heads and not use a lot of emotions in America. That is what we need right now, because grateful for that.
I think
Yeah.
your feed cut out there for a second. I don't know if you saw it on your end.
Yeah.
I'm getting a
Yeah.
little like instant. Are you getting the same thing on your end or no?
Yeah, I got a little like
For like the
pause.
last 20 seconds, you were just like frozen with like no words. I was like, oh, this is probably like a good rant that I'm missing.
Oh, so
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, what did I even stop? What I'm saying is, I actually think, I thank God, or I'm grateful for the neighborhood that I live in right now, because you don't see all of these protesters. You don't see people rioting and burning down and looting. Like one thing that actually shocked me was people were burning down car dealership companies now.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. You saw in
That is
Kenosha. In
crazy.
Kenosha, you have
Crazy.
15 cars on fire. You got the CNN reporter sitting there with his microphone. Fiery, but mostly peaceful protests. It's like, look, you guys are lying. You think the American people are stupid. You think we're dumb. You think that you could just you could pull the wool over our eyes and you could blind us from the truth, and we're not going to see the violence and the chaos taking place all over the country as you mischaracterize it and call these mostly peaceful protests. And what do you think the thousands of business owners that had their storefronts kicked in, their windows shattered, had all of their belongings, had everything they had worked for their entire life stolen, all of their shelves knocked over, and their business burned to the ground? How do you think they feel when they see the politicians, when they see the media get in front of the camera as they are sitting right in front of a building burnt to the ground and say these were mostly peaceful?
I don't even know what to say about this, because it is absolutely insane. It's insanity. Like, I don't know how far this has to get for CNN and the social media moguls to know that this is not a peaceful protest, right? These people are taking advantage of the situation to terrorize our communities now. And if I had my company in the Black community and I've seen the damage that these people are doing, what makes me think that if I'm able to reestablish a business again, I would build it in a Black neighborhood? Never. Because I know that if a racist, if something about race pops in, people would not hesitate but to burn down my business, and that is a problem. People are, and even if you are angry, why should you burn down someone who had nothing to do with the situation? Why should you burn down their business in the name of Black Lives Matter? Is that what Black Lives Matter does to you? Is that what it is to you? Yeah. If this is not racism, I don't know what else is. I really don't.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. And I mean, in terms of what you're saying about the media, they do know. It's like that these people, that's the worst part about it. Like, they know these protests are not mostly peaceful. They know what's going on in America. They see the riots, they see the violence, and it is evil. It's pure evil that they completely ignore it because they think that it is politically beneficial to them. At first, they thought the riots, the looting, they thought that was politically beneficial to them, and they could say, look, there's a race where America is systemically racist, and the only way we can fix a systemically racist America, the only way we could stop the riots and the looting and the violence is if you elect us into office. It is basically an ultimatum. It's like they put a gun to your head and they say, look, if you want us to stop the violence, then vote for us. And it's like Americans are not going to put up with that shit. And now the Democrats are finally realizing it. It's hitting them in the polls. Their poll numbers are plummeting. So now they're panicking. And now they are starting to very softly acknowledge that there is violence and there is riots. And now they're trying to pivot and they're going, oh, but it's Donald Trump's fault. And I scratch my head. It's Donald Trump's fault. This is the guy who has been calling a stop to the violence and the riots from day one. And every single time he mentioned the violence and the riots, Then the Democrats will come back and say, oh my God, you are attacking mostly peaceful protesters and there is no violence, there is no riots. And now they are finally trying to pivot and they're trying to change their tune. I think it's just too little too late. And people see the hypocrisy.
No, whatever happened this time has revealed to us who the Democrat Party actually is, who they are. And it's like this, most people have seen the violence. Most Democrats have seen the violence, and they have seen that this party is not really the party that can do something for the country. If it's anything, this party is the one that is actually destroying the America, and is actually acting like if we vote for them, they are going to do something about it. If you can do something about it now, what makes us think that you can do something about it when you get in office? And these things have opened Black people, it has opened Black people's eyes to know that the Democrat Party cannot really administer or do something to help benefit this country. And many people now, I saw a video about Barack Obama during his presidency calling out these looters, calling out these protesters that are taking advantage of the Black Lives Matter movement for their own gains. And now he's now saying that Trump is trying to take away the rights of peaceful protesters, and Trump is doing this and Trump is doing that. But that is how hypocritical the former president was. Because during his time, he called them looters, but now that it's time for us to vote for Joe Biden, he's now saying that, oh, these people are protesting peacefully. Right. So it's like these things, the more things get worse, the more the Democrat Party expose themselves for who they actually are. And people's eyes are actually getting to open, and people are starting to realize that the Democrat Party that they once stood for is not the party for the people anymore. And they cannot deliver the way that Trump is delivering. And I'm so thankful that our president was trying to reach out to these communities to help and, instill law and order. But these Democrat people would just not accept the offer. Just because.
Yeah, just on principles, because it'll show how weak they are. If they need Trump to come in, they need his federal troops to come in and quell the violence. It shows weakness, and they don't want that. Problem. And the problem is that Democrats have become so anti-Trump that they are now pro-crime. And if Trump says, I don't like crime, I don't like people looting our stores, burning our buildings, terrorizing our citizens, the Democrats need to play on their narrative of whatever Trump says is wrong, it's bad, he's an evil orange man who's evil and orange. And if he says that he wants the violence to stop, then we like the violence. So no, we say absolutely no to your federal troops. We don't want them here. And we're going to say that these are mostly peaceful protests and they can just continue to riot out in the streets, burn, loot, and just terrorize the citizens that elected these officials into office.
I don't know with the mayors and the politicians that are justifying these behaviors. I don't know how they're going to feel if these looters burn down their house and their businesses. How would they feel with that? They are okay if these looters do it to someone else, as long as it's not them. And if the looters now try to approach them, that is when they call in the cops. I believe this is hypocritical. If you don't want that kind of treatment to be done to you, then try not to let other people do it to others. Do what you want others to do to you. That's the blank point period. I feel like they are not strong enough to be leaders to instill law and order in these communities now that we need it the most.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem too. It's like these mayors are so well insulated, and like we mentioned earlier, it's they have their own private bodyguards and they have their own police force, they have their own private security. They don't have to deal with the mayhem and destruction that the citizens that elected them to protect are having to deal with. They're very insulated from all this. They're watching their cities burn as they sit in their mansion from afar, surrounded by bodyguards. I mean, it is like when I see this, I think it's pure evil. It's pure evil to watch someone literally watch over their city and watch it burn, watch criminals reign free in the streets with basic impunity. It's like this is the way I see this. People will do whatever they can get away with. And if you throw a brick at a cop, no one does something, 5 minutes later, you have everyone throwing bricks. You see someone loot a store, nothing is done about it. 5 minutes later, everyone is looting stores. They do whatever they can get away with. And since these mayors are weak, since they are demonizing their police force doesn't want to work. They don't want to quell the violence because they're scared they're going to lose their pensions. They're scared they're going to lose their jobs. They're scared that they're going to get arrested for fighting back if someone attacks them. They just say, fuck it. When they see someone looting a store, when they see someone lighting a car on fire, they just walk away. They don't even want to deal with it anymore because they know that they do not have the support of the public officials.
That is absolutely true. That is absolutely. That's why with this election, at first I didn't vote for Trump 2016, but this time I feel like I don't care what needs to be done. I don't care what is holding me back. I have to vote because it has given me a reason not only to vote for him, but to also vote for leaders that are strong enough to instill law and order. Because these mayors are actually appealing to these criminals now. They don't stand for the justice that they think that they don't stand for the justice that they claim they are fighting for. Right, so we have these taxpayers that live in these same communities that have their businesses burned down, that have their businesses looted, that have their houses trampled upon, and these mayors are not looking out for them. They are standing against anything that Trump talks about. They have to oppose it, whether it's to destroy the communities or not. As long as Trump is against it, they have to stand for it. And that is why these Democrat communities are burning to the ground. And it's about time. It's really about time that we have to take a stance. We the good people and we the people that love America. We have to take a stance and say no to the violence. Because these people are not competent enough. The mayors are not competent enough to deliver to the Black community, and especially in America in general.
I mean, I absolutely agree with you. And I mean, going back even 6 months, a year ago, I was definitely for Trump, but it's not like I didn't realize how evil and awful and disgusting the Democrats were. I thought for sure when people were marching around with signs calling to defund the police, I thought every reasonable person was going to come out and condemn that as just a crazy, stupid, awful idea. I thought as soon as the riots and the violence broke out, I thought the Democrats were at least reasonable to try to quell the violence, to try to put a stop to it, to try to defend law-abiding citizens. And now when I see how evil and disgusting they are, and at best, they ignore the violence. At worst, they actually encourage it. And you have a lot of these Democratic politicians that have actually tried to incite the violence, that actually try to fan the flames of racial division and hate, talking about how America is systemically racist and these people are just fighting for a cause and they're trying to bring attention, and these looters. You have AOC saying that they're just trying to steal so they can feed their families, where they are encouraging the violence. And when I see stuff like that, I mean, I would walk over broken glass barefoot to vote for Donald Trump, because we have to put an end to that shit.
AOC is just, I don't know which planet she lives in right now, because I just can't sit and listen to her speak. It's just utterly nonsense. The fact that you are hungry doesn't mean that you have to steal.
No, they steal TVs too. They're talking about being hungry, and the guy is walking out of Target with a 70-inch flat screen TV. Like, explain to me, these guys are walking out of the Gucci store, the Nike store. They're stealing from the Apple store. Like, I don't see people walking out with loaves of bread here. I don't even think the grocery stores are top ticket items for looters.
It is insane. When I saw the clips of how people were actually getting in the store and having the girl stand out talking about, oh, someone give me a charger, someone give me a charger. I was like, really? Really? Like, are you guys really, is that what we Black people really are? Is that what we are showing to the world, really? Right? It's like they know so much that they don't even know anything anymore. They have become so wise that has actually made them stupid in the process. Like, why should you encourage people looting and destroying other people's businesses? Why should you encourage stealing in general? Because stealing is illegal in America. So why should you encourage someone that because you are hungry you have to go steal? Can't you just ask the person to at least, I'm sorry, sir, I'm very hungry, I'm not eating for a while, can you please help me with something? They can choose to help. And even if they don't, we have a lot of of programs that can support the welfare system with the I don't know why you suddenly have to steal just because you are hungry. I don't know why these Democrats are encouraging stealing, are encouraging rioting in the name of justice. That is not how justice is. That is not how we fight for justice. Martin Luther King used peaceful process, and that was what has gotten us the results. The looting and the rioting has done nothing but to terrorize America in general. And I feel like this woman, I really want to see her debate with Candace Owens. I really want to see her debate with Candace Owens.
That would be a massacre.
And I don't think that is going to happen anytime soon, because she knows she just cannot stand the truth. These people are relying on fantasies, and their fantasies are not working. It's not working.
Well, that's the
because
problem. I mean, these Democrats, they're allergic to facts. And when they want to talk about systemic racism and you start bringing up statistics, when you start bringing up the statistics of fatal shootings of unarmed black people, and you can do it from their own liberal media source, they want to talk about, oh, okay, well, hold on a second.
Oh, stop it. Someone tried to call me. Let me.
Okay.
No. Oh, no. Why do you have to call this time? Brendan.
Okay, we're back.
Finally.
We're back. So yeah, as I was finishing, it's like you can use their own liberal media source to debunk their own bullshit narrative. And when you look at fatal police shootings of unarmed black people, and you look in 2019, the Washington Post, who keeps a comprehensive database of fatal police shootings of unarmed black people, there was 14 killed in 2019 out of 44 million people. That's a 1 in 3 million chance. You got a better chance of getting struck by lightning. You got a better chance of drowning. And this number, this includes justified police shootings. When you go case by case, in almost every single incident, like you said, the guy was resisting arrest, was attacking the police officer just prior to being shot. So when you look at the statistics for what unjustified police shootings of unarmed black people look at, you have an astronomical figure, and you can't bring up any of that. Democrats are allergic to facts. You can't bring up statistics. You can't bring up data. They will call you a racist for doing so.
I had my family members even call me racist, so I don't even talk about politics in my house anymore, because I don't want to argue or, get emotions, caught up. But the Democrat Party only relies on emotions, because if it really has to get to the logic, people will really know what the Democrat Party is all about, and they'll just have to work out. The Democrat Party cannot thrive without emotions. That's why they always have to get black people mad enough so they could get our vote. But now, the more they keep getting into it, the more people are actually realizing that these people are actually out there to destroy this country. And we need to stand up, and we need to, do what is right. And even if you don't like Donald Trump, even if you don't like his tone, even if you don't like the way he says it, or you have a problem with his slogan, at this point, you have to know that we don't have a choice. You don't have a choice, because you have to vote for either Trump or watch America burn to the ground. Basically.
Yeah, and that's how I literally see this. And I know, people try to be dramatic, people try to be extreme, and they go, oh my God, this election is literally like, it's like a life or death type of thing. But when I see people just randomly killing people out in the streets, and you have politicians that are silent about this, I go, this is no longer hyperbole. This is no longer in extreme thought or using extreme language to say this is a very, very important election. That think about this. We have all this stuff going on in the streets, and that's with Donald Trump in office, who is speaking out against it. And he hates this stuff. He's the only one that's fighting against it. Imagine if you had the people in power that were okay with this, that were enabling this, that were encouraging this. I can't even imagine. And like you had mentioned in your walk away video, if they can't even handle the violence in their own cities, imagine if you put that person in charge of the country.
Oh, no.
They can't even handle their own city.
Oh, no. It is crazy. America, we would literally see America die. That is if we put these people in office. These people, black people have voted for the Democrat Party for over 50 years. And we have, when I say we've been worse off so far for 50 years. But for some reason, they always want to keep bringing up these race issues, these systemic racism, in order for them to get our vote. But now, like, people have seen what these Democrat people are about. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, and expecting different results. It's not going to work that way. We have voted 50 years for the Democrat Party, and they have done nothing but to dismantle and to destroy the black community in general. So if the Democrat Party is not working, why don't we try something else and see if it's going to work? Why do we always have to vote for someone just because of our emotions? When are we going to get rid of these emotions and actually think with our head? Right? That is where we have to get to at this point, because these people, Joe Biden has been in politics for over 40 years, and he has done nothing, absolutely nothing. So what makes us think that he's going to do something now?
Yeah,
Trump.
I was going to say, they feel completely entitled to the vote. They think the only way they can win is to divide our country and call it systemically racist.
No.
And then you have Joe Biden saying things like, if you don't vote for him, you're not black. It just shows how entitled they feel for the black vote. It's like, How do you feel when you see someone like that as a black woman looking at Joe Biden speak when he said this on Charlemagne the God, the Breakfast Club, where he's saying that if you can't figure out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black? I mean, what does that look like when you're seeing someone say things like that?
This is sad. Then maybe maybe because of Joe Biden, I'm not black anymore. Basically, that's what he's saying.
You lose your black card. That's it.
I lose my black
Revoked.
card, basically. Yeah, because why do I have to vote for you just because of my skin color? Basically, why do I have to vote for you just because? Why do I have to think a certain way? Why do I have to vote for you just because of the color or the pigmentation of my skin? I am a free thinker. I am free to choose whoever I want to vote for, not because I was born into this party, so I have to vote for this for its subconsciously. No, I have to think. I feel like this Democrat Party, they need to earn our vote. They have to earn it. We are not going to vote for them just because they support black people or they think that they support black people. Because if they did, our communities wouldn't have been in the jeopardy that it is right now. Right, these people are not doing anything. If it's something, they have destroyed the black community since 1960s. They have destroyed the black community, and Trump has even aside the COVID-19, Trump has really done a lot in just 3 years. Even after all the opposition that he was facing, from impeachment to the Russia thing to COVID-19 to Black Lives, he has done a lot that Barack Obama and Joe Biden could have done in all of 8 years. So why don't I have to think about who deserves my vote or the policies that I think will work for Black America or in America in general, than to just vote just because of my skin color and that I have to support Joe Biden just because I'm Black? It just doesn't make sense. I am a free thinker and I'm free to choose whoever I want to vote, not by my skin color, but because I choose. I have realized and I have thought about several things, and I believe that Trump is who we need right now. We Black Americans, minorities, white people, we all need Trump at this point, because these people have decided that the Democrat Party is all talk and no action.
Yeah, I think that is the scariest thing to any Democrat is an independent, free-thinking black person. They think that they have the vote on lock. They think historically they've got 90+% of the black vote. And I don't know if you've seen some of these polls that are coming out, and almost every poll, I mean, you have, even in the smallest numbers, even the NAACP's poll said that like Donald Trump has 21% approval from the black community. Some of these polls give him 30+. And then when you look at other polls about defunding the police, 80% of black people are against it. 20% of black people want even more policing than it currently exists in their neighborhoods. So from what I have seen, and I mean, it's my personal prediction from everything that I've witnessed, I think that he's going to get a historic amount of black voters that are going to come out and vote for him. And this is going to be the death of identity politics, which is the most toxic ideology that's been infused into our politics, that divides our country, that makes people hate each other. And they will have no leg to stand on when not only do they lose the election, but they lose the election because of the minority vote. That will literally be the death of them. They lose because of minority vote.
At this point, it's like, the more they justify these behaviors, the more black people are actually beginning to see what this party is all about. It is not about. I understand what you're saying about the identity politics. The fact that someone is black doesn't mean they have to vote Democrat. The fact that someone is black doesn't mean they have to vote for Democrat, and the fact that someone is white doesn't mean they have to vote for Republican. You just have to go with the policies and what you think will benefit the community, not just based on your skin color, but what you think will be right for America in general. So now they are losing the black community, because a lot of people told me that a lot of people were like, I thought the Democrat Party was what I thought it was, but now looking at all the violence and then justifying all of these, rout and looting, it has made me understand that even if I don't like Trump, I don't have a choice at this point, because even if I don't like him, I just can't see this country turn out the way these Democrats want it to. So. And the more they do this, the more they think that, the more they act like they're entitled to the black votes, the more black people leave the Democrat Party. That is what it is actually happening right now. And many people are going to cry for this outcome of the election in November. Many people it's going to be a problem. because
Yeah,
Trump
I
is
mean, I think so as well. And it's like I said, like when you see, especially like, okay, last election, Donald Trump got, 8% of the black vote, which is still way more than other Republicans. I mean, Mitt Romney
yeah.
got 2%. So he had already had 4 times more than Mitt Romney did in 2012. And then, I mean, looking at the numbers now, it's like, it doesn't seem like he could get any less than 15. He might even get, 20+%. And I think that this is when Democrats really have to take a big hard look and self-reflect and think, okay, well, this whole idea, this agenda, this push of trying to divide the country and say America is systemically racist is not a good strategy. Like it's not going to work
It's
trying to
not
divide
good.
people.
It's absolutely, these people, I feel like they have to go back, re-evaluate all the policies and everything that they think should give them the reason why they should be in office. Because I feel like they have to deliver at this point, because we don't have to vote just based on what this country is doing, on the divisiveness and all of that. They have to earn our vote at this point. They have to give us strategic reasons why we black people or people should vote for them in general. They shouldn't insinuate and
Feel
justify.
entitled.
Yeah, they are entitled, and that is the problem. People don't want to do something if they feel like other people are entitled. I don't have to vote for you just because I'm black. Being black is just a skin color. I don't see why my identity should be based on my skin color. I am a different person outside my skin color. I am free to think whatever I choose to think, right? Not just for my skin color, but what will benefit the country in general. And these Democrats are really doing a bad job as to knowing how they are to deliver. The most of the reasons why they want us to vote for them is to just get Trump out of office. That is the main reason why they had the Democrat convention, or that's the their campaign slogan, just to vote Trump out of office. Okay, we vote Trump out of office. Now what?
Yeah, no,
Now what?
they don't have
Now
they don't have a plan. The whole
they
DNC
don't
was
have a plan.
dedicated to everything Trump, everything COVID related is all Trump's fault. America's systemically racist. Trump is a bigot. He's a sexist. Get him out of office and all your problems will be solved. They don't want to talk about any policies at all. And when you look at the black community and you look at what Trump has done and some of the bills that he's passed, they don't want to mention anything. They don't want to mention the 10-year funding for HBCUs, enhanced funding for the HBCUs. They don't want to talk about criminal justice reform where 7,000 inmates were released, 91% black. They don't want to talk about opportunity zones that gave investors incentives to invest in low-income neighborhoods. They don't want to talk about any of those things at all. They have zero policy proposals. The only thing that they can say is America's systemically racist. And so far, what have Democrat cities have done? They've either cut police budgets or they've abolished their police departments.
Trump as racist, but looking at Trump's presidency for the past 4 years, that is something that a racist would not do. You know what I mean? If Trump was really racist, tell me why the black community has done better in his presidency than Obama ever did in
8 years, yeah. I think you froze there for a second. Stupid internet.